Moving on to Afghanistan, there's growing pressure for the Taliban to fall in line. The country's acting deputy foreign minister has urged the top leadership to reopen girls' schools. His voice comes amidst growing international rebuke of a country's policy that has led Afghanistan into isolation. Here's more.
For the first time, a voice for muzzled women's rights from within the Taliban government. The Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs, the influential Sher Mohammad Abbas Stanikzai, put out a strong public rebuke of a policy that remains a big cause for the Taliban's international isolation. Stanikzai called on the Taliban to open the doors of education to all, saying restriction on girls' and women's education was not in line with Islamic Sharia law. He pointed at injustice being committed against 20 million out of the country's 40 million people, the female population, as he stressed that knowledge was open to both men and women in the time of the Prophet. This was a Taliban response at last to U-turns on promises to open high schools for girls, closure of universities to female students at the end of 2022, and absence of any timeline for changes. The policies have come in for flack globally, including by Islamic scholars. Western diplomats have pointed out that any path towards formal recognition of the Taliban remains blocked until there is a change on their policies towards women. To that end, locals see the change of regime in the US as a pressure source for the Taliban towards change and corrections.
I think a lot of our politicians think Trump is a good choice. He won with a lot of votes. I also believe that there could be a general change for girls' education and that there could be opportunities for them because we all need them. Women don't represent half of society, but society as a whole. So if there is a general change in women's education, it will be extraordinary.
At a summit on girls' education in Muslim communities held in Islamabad earlier this month, Nobel laureate and rights activist Malala Yousafzai urged Muslim leaders not to legitimize the Afghan Taliban government and to show true leadership over their assault on women's rights.
And in Afghanistan, an entire generation of girls is being robbed of their future. This conference will not be serving its purpose if we do not talk about the education of Afghan girls. Because Afghanistan is the only country in the world where girls are completely banned from education beyond grade 6.
So are things finally headed in the right direction on education rights for girls in Afghanistan? An outcry against the Taliban's excesses against women has gained more prominence now than ever before. Can the voice for corrections from within the Taliban make the much-needed difference?